Hey loves, hello. March 16th, 2026. Right at 5:50 p.m. exactly. And the water's running. And I had a great Epsom salt bath. And yeah, wonderful. I soaked for hours. Anyway, today is the day where my little Jakey flew away. But the years I'm going to cover today in Chapter 5 are 1978 to okay, so let's see, I did 0 to 5, that's Chapter 1, 5 to 10, that's Chapter 2, 10 to 15 is Chapter 3, 15 to 20 was Chapter 4, 20 to 25. Okay. So this is going to be 20 to 25. And those were incredible years for me. And I'll do a disclaimer from the beginning. If you don't resonate with what I say, or my truth can't help you in some way, then you don't have to listen to me. Some call me crazy, but I've gotten a long way on faith and seeing things outside the box totally. Being a 29th degree Aquarius. And just had my Diamond Jubilee, birthday, so I'm blessed abundantly, really. And from 20 to 25 were pinnacle years for me. I lost my mom, as I had said before, when I was 20. And loved her enough to let her go. And hated to see her suffer so. And loved her enough to let her go. When my brothers only wanted the money and the house, And anyway, I was working with American Home Shield, and I was making really good money. My territories were the whole Midwest: Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Michigan. And it was a big territory, and I ran everything from Dublin, California. And they moved, they sold the company, and I moved up to the multi-unit division, where I was covering new housing projects. And I was running, that's called the multi-unit division, of American Home Shield, for warranties for homes. And it was a great job, and I was moving up the ladder there fast. And I got a lot of great training, Zig Ziglar with Positive People rallies, and great training in marketing, and I had a great instructor, John, and he was a great manager. And they moved the offices, the headquarters, to Santa Rosa, California. This is right when I was about 22 or so. 21, 22. Yeah. And 21 actually. And I got a really cool house, little apartment up in Monte Rio, California, way up on the mountain, by the Russian River. And Goat Rock Beach was not far from there. It was about 30 minutes. And I got it right around my birthday when I think it was 21. Yeah, it was 21. Yeah. So, going on 22. And the Russian River flooded really bad. And I was running the multi-unit division, the banking industry division, and covering REO properties for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Gibraltar Savings and Loan, and big, huge companies in Texas, obviously. And a lot was going on. And I had a great division going with banking industry and the multi-unit division. I was running 2 divisions at once, but it was an awesome job. Good company. And I couldn't get up to my place for days and days. I had to stay with David, and till I could get up to my apartment, my little place up in Monte Rio. And, there I was alone. Steve was back in Michigan, and I had some connection with him. But he was so far away, and he wasn't mature enough for me, anyway. And this realtor, George Bledsoe, he's in Michigan, Saginaw. And he said to me one day, he said, Laurel Ann, you got to find somebody who's identical to you if you want to find the right person to love you. Find someone just like you. Otherwise, you're never going to be satisfied, really. That still stuck with me today when I worked at American Home Shield. Made a lot of good friends out there in marketing and management divisions and multi. I had a blast. And I was lonely up there, but I was happy. I was taking care of myself and had my place. I was away from Concord and the Mount Diablo Valley. I was out of that area, and on my own. And it was nice to be away from home. And I went to Safeway, and, of course I did my cannabis, and I didn't have any, right? So I'm sitting there in line, and, weirdest thing. And there's these two dudes up in front of me talking about some cannabis they had, right? And I said, "Gosh, can I get some of that from you?" And this dude looks at me and says, "Oh, you want a party? You want to have?" I said, "Well, I'll just get some from you if that's okay." He said, "No, that's just we'll share with you." I'm great, okay. And I fell for that one, and I took him up to my little apartment, and we had our cannabis, and he, him and a couple of his friends. And, we hung out, and I hit it off with Jeffrey. That's when I picked him up at the Safeway supermarket checkout. And I wish I would have left him at the counter, in retrospect. But anyway. And, we hit it off and had a night. And then he didn't, I said, "Are you going to be here when I get back?" And I'm like, "You're going to be gone, please." And he, "No, I'm going to stay." And I fell for it, I let him stay. Big mistake. But then that was the codependent getting in, and he was a Sagittarius to the Maximus. 12/12/50, or 12/12/65 is Jeffrey Robert Bauer's birthday. Yeah, my second ex to be. And boy, what a whirlwind he put on me. But I allowed it, you see. I chose him, and I chose to stay with him too. That was the sad part for me. But because of my conditioning growing up in a dysfunctional home, it made it easy for me. It's like if you weren't treating me like crap, I wasn't used to that. Sadly. Right about that time, I met this guy named Jay, and his dad owned Snap-on Tools, right? And I met him at Stinson Beach, and he had a really cool Camaro, a red one, I remember. And I was just checking out his car. Hey, it's a really cool car. And he says, "You want to take a ride?" I said, "Sure." I was alone. I was up there, for the weekend. And we hit it off for a stretch. But he was a Texas gentleman. And he was so sweet, it kind of drove me nuts. I didn't know how to respond to that. Sadly. I'm sure he would have given me a good life, Jay, if things had turned out a little differently. But anyway, I met Jeffrey. And in my dysfunction and not knowing and ignorance, I stayed with him and tried to make a go of it. And I knew I had red flags right away, but I ignored it. I'm not sure why, but I did, just out of programming and habitual forgiving and, giving in. And he was a Sagittarian like my dad, but my dad was an Ophiuchus. I think Jeffrey fell into the Ophiuchus too, the 13th constellation, just like my two daughters, not mentioning any names. But yeah, something in my life that I just couldn't lose. And then I got pregnant with Lucas, and that was quite the accident. I was on birth control, and it obviously backfired. And I had given up my one son, my firstborn. Like I said in the last chapter, CYFD, Shirley Brown, my caseworker manager, set me up for an abortion free. You know, it's going to ruin your life. We made it easy, Roe versus Wade. And then my boyfriend didn't want anything to do with it. And so I was just into high school. And I fell for it. Anyway, so I got pregnant with Lucas, and I was not giving up this baby. No way. Mm-mm-mm-mm. No. And so, of course, I chose to have Luke. And it was a mistake. Not because I had Luke. I love him. Still do. Because I wasn't in the right place. And I wasn't with the right guy. And he used Luke to get me on the hooks, and so I wouldn't go anywhere. I would take care of him. If you got my kid, you got me. And Jeffrey had a mean drug addiction. I did too. Stayed clean for Luke, but it didn't stop me, though, after he was born. And I was still in the darkness after what Pierre Gallardo had done to me, the minister in chapter, I think it was chapter 4. No, chapter 3. Yeah, the minister in chapter 3. And sent me into the darkness, and I didn't even believe there was a God. So I did all the drugs I wanted. I was a power unto myself. I kind of did what I wanted, you know. And there was, do as you feel is natural. So I did what was natural. And they had, the best drugs then, and as far as I'm concerned, some of the best rock and roll. And all the concerts going on and everything. And, the Bay Area, it was awesome. Let me put this down. It's better. I got a ways to go, I forgot. I'm doing a chapter. Just sharing my experience, that's all. And society made it pretty easy, actually. Really. Society did. And so, I had Luke. Big, strong kid. Huge. Interesting, he was born during the harmonic convergence. The harmonic convergence, 1987. The harmonic convergence was the late August 1987. Lucas was born 9/11/87. Exactly. Santa Rosa, California. Big kid. Yeah, about 3:30 p.m. And I was in labor with him. I guess I got to go right to Luke, because that was the biggest thing that happened in this chapter to me. Was I had my son, and I was 24 at that time. Too young, if you ask me. I really wasn't ready. But he happened, and I wasn't giving him up. I wanted my baby. So I went 72 hours hard labor with him, trying to, and he was huge. I was 6 months along, and lady said, "Oh, you're due any day now, huh?" No, I got 3 months to go, honey. He's huge. He went right into 3-month close. And he was a big, big, big boy. And I craved Total and bananas the whole time I was pregnant with him, too. It was trippy. Yeah. And halibut. Halibut, lots of halibut. And, but he was born with a cleft lip palate. Bilateral. Cleft lip palate, yep. And I'd never seen it before in my life. And I'm like, oh my God, wow. It was a lot to deal with. A lot. And it was a shock, obviously. And I had to learn how to feed him this special bottle and burp him a certain way and take care of him. He was, you couldn't just hand him to anybody to feed him. He has no palate, roof of his mouth. He's all open here. Yeah. And his eyes are real wide set. And at 3 months old, I, took him to a doctor. Can't mention their name, but supposed to be an ENT, but he wanted to do plastic surgery. And he said he could do my son in a skippy. Oh, yeah, I can take care of that real easy. 3 months old, right? My son was. And he did an experiment on him because he said ENTs could do plastic surgery. And my son was a good example of why that shouldn't happen, actually. And a lot happened behind the scenes with that whole thing. I can't go into it for legal reasons. But anyway, so this doctor butchered my son's face. And then tried to blame it on me and say I let it get infected. And sent me from Santa Rosa, California, middle of the night. I'll never forget it. The breakdown of his face after I got him home. And I didn't have him home for, was it a day or something. And I had him sitting in his swing, sleeping, and I was on the couch right next to him. Because that way he's sitting up, and, the pressure is easier on his face. And he started screaming his head off, and he was just, the whole thing just split because the doctor jacked up the surgery. His whole thing split, and he was blood from here all over his front. And I rushed him to Santa Rosa Hospital. And they gave me painkillers. There was no infection, otherwise they would have seen it, and they would have administered antibiotics. That's what got me off the hook. And because otherwise they were trying to blame me for it, saying I let it get infected. But Santa Rosa Memorial saw I didn't let it get infected, no. But they gave me a lot of painkillers for my poor baby so I could get him to San Francisco to this doctor's office who sent some other person, not even him. And then he sent me all the way up to Stockton from San Francisco in my little Datsun blue B210 station wagon. It broke down on the way. The mechanic had to fix it for me. And then I had to go all the way back. And that dude said, oh, yeah, he tried to hit it out of the ballpark. Tried to hit a home run. He messed up. You know how it is. No, and yeah, trying to find a way to blame me for what happened to my poor baby. Oh. That gets my heart skippy. I got a light of smoke to that one. What am I in? 1909. Yeah. And I lived in Santa Rosa, and I'd have to drive down to San Francisco, through, it's funny, Lucas Ranch there, George Lucas Ranch. And over the Golden Gate, take Lucas down to the doctors and stuff. And yeah, boy, they messed up bad with that one. But luckily I had angels on my side. Lucas was all right. And, but wow, what a ride. I was all alone with my son, bleeding in pain. And, it was insane. in the dark. I remember driving home in that storm, trying to make it from Stockton back to Santa Rosa, and I'd never been that route before. But by the Heavenly Holy Spirit, I was safe. It was hairy, really was, and scary, what they were trying to do to me, trying to blame it on me. And, obviously it was going to have to heal before anything happened. And I ended up homeless from there with Luke. I had gotten laid off my job, and Lucas was sick anyway, with his face all butchered up. And I needed to pay my rent, and I was waiting for my unemployment. And I was, waiting for a tax return, $1,200. And it was just short of my rent time, where my check was going to be another 4 weeks, but my rent was due right now. So I called my brother Clifford, who had my mom's house. I think I covered that in chapter 3. Yeah. Who had my mom's house, who was supposed to help me and be there for me, And then when I got old enough, split the house 3 ways. I don't want to rehash that. It's in chapter 3. You can listen again if you want to. And you don't have to listen to me. This is just for posterity. Yeah, anyway. So I called my brother Clifford, and I said, hey, Cliff, I got a $1,200 tax return coming. I just need a loan. Can you please help me? I got to pay my rent and fix my Datsun B210 blue station wagon. He said, yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you. He said, but call Dad first. And if Dad won't help you, then I will. I'll help you, Okay, So I ring-a-ling-a-ding-ding my daddy. Sorry, I can't help you. No. Can't, I ain't got it. Nope. And, okay, well, I'll call Clifford back then. He said, he's got Mom's house after all. I'm going to have to hit the street if I can't pay my rent and all. Fix my car with my baby with his face all butchered. And Jeff was still using then. I wasn't at the time. I just had a baby and his face got all... But Jeff wasn't really getting any better. He never really did. Not for a long time. He's a jerk. And I don't, I can go there, but it'll make the chapter really long, and I'm already at 22:43, 22:44. Anyway, and so I called Clifford back, and, oh, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. No, I can't help you. Yeah. Left me and Lucas and Jeffrey walking down the street with Lucas's stroller, because my car was broke down, with whatever I could carry on his buggy. Hit the Shoe Leather Express. Didn't know where we were going or what was going to happen. And I ended up in front of a soup kitchen in Santa Rosa. And I'm sitting there in line. Forgive my smoking. Oh, it's a bad habit, but hey. It's okay. This is just for posterity. I was never expected to be perfectly. Obviously, I didn't have a life of a queen. Even though some would think I did, really. Or say. Anyway. So, in the front of the soup kitchen, while we're waiting to get in, this nun walks up to Luke and I. There's Luke, and, of course, with his cleft lip palate, with this all open, he smiled, and his smile just lit up a whole room. And he smiled, and people could feel the love between us. It's immense. Yeah, and she came up to me and Luke. She looked right at Luke and said, God's got incredible plans for you, son. God has big plans for you. I'm like, wow. Not sure what she meant by that. She didn't specify that. But anyway. So, We went in the soup kitchen, got something to eat. And I think we stayed there for a couple days, if I'm correct. And we met this lady, little thing, and she invited us to go stay at her place for a while. I think. I don't remember how that went down. Yeah. And we went there and stayed there for a while. And we left that place and went to hotels. Started going to hotels. And I obviously couldn't get any help for my family. Sadly. I would have gladly, anyway. This part's hard for me. So, there was this one night where I had Lucas and Jeffrey was screaming at me to give him the keys to my car, and he already stole the money from me so he could go get drugs and party. Remember, I got his kids, that meant I got him too. Yeah, it was awful. Anyway, so I kept the key. Oh, what was it? He took Lucas. I had the keys. He said, "Give me the keys and I'll give you Lucas." And we were out in front of this hotel, just in the street. "Give me the keys and I'll give you Lucas. Give me the key." And I'm like, "Man, you got our kid. Are you crazy?" And I said, "Here, And I went to hand him the keys and I grabbed Lucas and I ran. I held on to the keys and I held on to Lucas and I ran. And he tackled me. Lucas in my hands. And I scratched up the whole left side of me, if I remember correctly. I went down. And how I did it, but I got up and I ran to the office and I had to bang on the door. They didn't want to let me in. They saw what was happening. Yeah, they saw what was happening. They did let me in and called the PD and they hauled him away. Joyfully. Next morning, I packed up my stuff and got out of there with Lucas. And he was off jail, and I hit a shelter in Marin County. It was a pretty nice place, actually. And they had him in jail. And I went to my brother Clifford. And I needed a new start, and Jeff didn't know where Clifford lived. He didn't know my mom's house. He didn't even know what city it was in. He wouldn't have found me. And I went to Clifford. I said, "Hey, I need a new start, brother. I got to get away from this guy. They've got him in jail. Let me get a new start here. I need a place better than a shelter for me and Lucas." And, my brother who promised to my mother, I'll always give her a safe place to stay. Sadly, for me and Lukey. No, I don't want any kids in the house. I let Dave stay here with Travis, and no, 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 no. Oh, my God. He might as well throw me back to the wolves, because that's exactly what he did. Yeah, no help with, "Hey, let me give you a little money to help you out, or, help you get a place, or, help you, hide from him." He's bad news. Obviously, no. My big brother didn't do that for me. Sadly. Yeah. I'm sure my mom's, really. So anyway, I headed back to the shelter in Marin County, and sure as chips, I'm driving right now. I could have stayed right there at Clifford's. I didn't even have to go back. And I had nowhere else to go. So I went back to the shelter. Sure as chips, I'm driving down Main Street, 30 minutes exactly. Driving down Main Street in my station wagon with Lucas. Yeah. And, you know, out of the blue, there's Jeff. He came running up to my car and jumped in the station wagon. I'm like, how did you find me? He said, oh, I saw you were staying in Marin County. It was on the restraining order. Oh, great. He's got me. Jeff got me. He found me. Yeah, great. Thanks, Clifford. Yeah, and he died just recently, in the last year or something. He committed suicide at my mom's house. 6 months after I was there, actually. About a year and a half ago now. And, yeah. Anyway, so he said, okay, he said, well, let's do this. He said, let's just go down to San Diego, get a new start down there. Maybe we could find a doctor for Lucas to fix his face, since that other doctor butchered it. Hey, it's an opportunity, right? Right. Okay. I'm stuck with you now. You found me. Oh, shit. CHIT, I'm not cussing. Yeah. And so we headed down to San Diego, and Guns N' Roses was real big then, Welcome to the Jungle and all that. And we saw the beaches in San Diego and all that, but we were homeless. Nowhere to go. And I was on unemployment. It kind of got some, but not very much, really. And, you know, of course I was partying. Still, I hadn't gotten off that dragon yet. And I'll admit that, I'll admit that. I was still in the Mount Diablo Valley where the drugs were concerned. We had the best, and I didn't have a reason for quitting. I wasn't pregnant, but I had Luke. But we were partying then. I was 24, 25. Yeah. And, yeah, I'm going from 20 to 25, right? That's pretty fast. And, yeah, it was tough to be homeless. I stayed at the shelter with Jeff there in San Diego. It was a big mission shelter. And at the Haypenny Inn, I remember the Haypenny Inn in Chula Vista, National City, that was a rough place. And Chula Vista in that area. Yeah, that was really something at 3308. And, yeah, it was a ride down there. It really was, with Jeffrey. But I was stuck with him. You see, I had Lukey. And I was looking for opportunities, and I took him to the doctor that was supposed to fix him, not mentioning any particular institution. And it was obvious that he didn't, I remember going to his office, and I said, this is my son, Luke. And, oh, yeah, we know all about him. Oh, yeah, we know all about him. Yeah, all the backstory, all the, meetings. I'm getting alerted to all kinds of things here. Yeah, we know all about him. And I'm like, and I was all confused. What do you mean? What do you know what? And he was very intimidated by looking at Luke and knowing he was going to try to have to fix that patch, that hot mess of what this other doctor did to him. It was a disaster. He left a little tiny nub here to put together. And a whole palate to restore. It was an immense surgery for my poor Lukey. Immense. And this guy was not the dude for the job. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a whole nother chapter from there. I might cut this chapter short. Only because I'm getting into, I had Luke at 24. 25, we're getting right about that timeline. I mean, or I could go on and do 2 chapters in one, but I don't want to get confused. I want to keep the chapters of my life separate. It's just my experience. Strength and hope. I was inspired. I had, um, a lot of tough strokes. I mean, immense, absolutely. Yeah, being homeless there in Southern California was not easy. Not at all. In fact, I didn't establish until, let me see, after Jake was born in 1989. Yeah, so that was kind of a distance there. So I'll end this chapter there because I wanted to stay, from 20 to 25, and I'm going over, so I don't want to bleed too much into the next chapter, and that's a big one. So maybe I'll go over, and that'll be a longer chapter, who knows. But let me tell you something. I was in darkness after, truly, pinnacle moment for me outside of everything was when Pierre Gallardo tried to go at me, the minister with Unity Church in Walnut Creek. That really blew my mind. I've seen a lot in the Mount Diablo Valley. But when a man who was supposed to be of God came at me, it did something to me at 12 or 13. And so I did the drugs and did what I wanted to do, and partied and was accountable to nobody but me, really. And I had no limits in the Mount Diablo Valley. That's what we knew, and that's what I knew. I had nobody to account to but me. And I took care of me and paid my bills, and a strong woman, did my thing. Flower child, totally. Always be a flower child, always, And it's just my experience. When he did that to me, it just blew my mind and all my innocence. What was left of it. Totally. And wasn't found again until the next chapter. And that's in the next chapter, when I got found again. When I saw it, but I was found. Because I truly was in darkness with Jeffrey and, the partying and all that, and what I was trained to know. And luckily I was really tough, though, by grace, I was always blessed with somebody or something that helped me, and something that inspired me. And I got inspired by enough bad stuff. But I had to experience it to know it. You have to walk through it and experience it if you're going to even begin to understand it, right? Or is it just me? Creator, director, Elohim? You have to walk through it to understand it. Yeah, and so many people were jealous of me, if you can believe it. People have been terribly jealous of me. Seriously. I wouldn't want to be me. Not for, really, if I had to trade it. Yeah. Some would say I picked it. I picked this part. I picked this role. I picked this play for this particular day. To witness it. Walk through it and understand the darkest aspects. And live through it. And then to tell about it. Just my experience and my perspective. That's it. How I had to live it. How I had to witness it. Being in hotels in Southern California and walking the streets with my kids on buses and stuff. Not literally walking the streets, but time I had to do that. Keep a roof over my kids' heads. You know, when I was 25. It was no fun for me. At all. Really. I was in a position and my family wouldn't help me. So, what do? Anyway, I don't want to be on the pity pot, but that's just, I'm not the only woman who's ever been put on the spot. But, hey, I'm guilty. At least it takes off Mary Magdalene. And that helped redeem her. That maybe redeems me a little bit. Seriously. You have to live it to know it, to understand it, be able to understand it, to forgive it. And I forgive me. That makes it easy to forgive others, doesn't it, really? Don't judge the shoes until you wear them. Absolutely. Yeah, infinity breath, right? Let's do that together. You want to do an infinity breath? Some water. Because it's a new moon tonight. And this is how we'll end the chapter. Do an infinity breath. Okay, ready? On a count of 3, take 5 seconds in, breathe in the light. 5 seconds out, breathe out the darkness. And then shake it up. Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. I see you. Yeah. Right there. You shake it off like a dog. All the negative. And yeah, it takes a lot of makeup to make me look this baggy, but my salt bath was awesome. And tomorrow, San Antonio. I got to get up early. Totally. Lovely lovelies. That's my chapter for tonight. Almost at 45. Yeah. And we are seeing this day, this new moon, 3-eye Atlas. Yeah, I'll use up the next 15 minutes with current events of the day. We are at war with Iran and still, I guess, involved in Ukraine. Straits of Hormuz main in the game. And yeah, it's my story, this story. It's not just about me, it's about everybody. It's about everybody. Yeah, sure is. Involves all of us, loves. Who's ever listening to this? Who's ever listening? I get those sometimes. I don't know what that is. It's confirmation after confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. Yeah, we're all in the same candle together, loves. We're all in the same candle together. Really. And I am a mother. And I love my kids immensely. All of them. Every single one of them. And today was the day my little Jake flew away, and he took a piece of me with him that day. But he's with me right here in my garden. Yes, Jubilee. Yeah. My 1963 Jubilee birthday. I'm so blessed, though I didn't get to do anything, but tomorrow San Antonio and the hemisphere, and we'll see from here. Because, wow, the closing and beginning of the cycles is in full gear. There ain't no stopping it now, loves. None. Go with the flow and ride on, right on. Know where you're going when it's all done. I know where I'm going when it's all done, and it will pass. Thy kingdom come. New heaven, new earth. I look forward to new birth. And Mother Earth is rebirthing. And yeah, listen to those who say, this war and that war and, this and that going on, like Yeshua said. Yeshua said, yeah, have no fear. I prepared you for this. Through the Gospels and the Gnostic wisdom, Mary Magdalene, I prepared you for this time. I've been thinking of this. I prepared you for this time. You got to be willing and trust fully. Know fully. Know as much as you can so you understand the plan. Man and woman. And no matter what, you're forgiven. We were all let in. I know me, I'm guilty of sin. I was let in. Definitely. And we'll get to 25 to 30. So those were interesting times. And then I'm almost halfway home already. Yeah. And I'm not a witch. I never cracked a witch's book in my life. Never learned to cast a spell or nothing like that, but people say words are spells, and I look at me, you can't shut me up. It's just going to be about 13 hours of stuff. But I'm not hiding anything, loves. I'm an open book, Psalms 46:5. Psalms 46:5. God is within her. She will not fail. When God is within you, you're not seeking it out there somewhere. You're seeking heaven in the garden that you know and see within you. That is where Christ is. You go and spend time in that garden. And in the day, you can go to that garden and get a hug. Any time of day, you can get a hug from Jesus. Just imagine in the garden, he's right there and he's giving you, hey, I'm right here. Or be it your mom, or be it a loved one, or an animal that you love that maybe moved on, that's in that garden. You see him there. Just imagine him there and give him a hug. Give him some love. I see Yeshua there. I can see it. Some say it's the imagination. Some say, oh, it's for you to imagine. But it's not. There's to imagine and your imagination, but then there's the imaginal, the place in between the two. The imaginal, where you see it in your consciousness, you see it in your mind's eye. Your third eye, that's the pineal. The imaginal, pineal. Yeah, and your pineal, your third eye sees in your inner mind and your heart and your soul. That's where Jesus is, really. It's always inside you, never leaves. That light is in all of us, babies. Totally. I'm at 49:01. See, I can go on and on and on. Oh, to be a more, yeah, the Irish curse, right? Well, no, the double-edged sword. Yeah, I don't want to mess that one up. Gift of gab, curse of blab, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we can speak eloquently and poetically and lyrically and eloquently at times, but you can't shut us the chips up. We're like fairy dust with words. Yeah. And I'm a 29th degree Aquarius, so I'm weird anyway. It's not just about astrology. It's about who the heavenly created me to be. Differently. Yes, they've called me unicorn, enigma, A intelligence, above average intelligence. But I don't know everything. And I love to learn. Um, yes. And let me see. A mystery. A mystery. Yeah, most people don't get me. Some say it's because I'm an Aquarius on the 29th degree. Sun and rising and everything. So yeah, it makes me unique. Definitely. Aquarius are the fewest ones born, really. Except for, I think, Ophiuchus, which is different dating. November, late November into mid-December is the time of Ophiuchus, the 13th constellation. But anyway, so I didn't create me. I just signed up for the assignment. As I understand it, but it took lifetimes to get here, as I understand today. And I remember my lifetimes now. And I'm using up the hour. I got 9 minutes left about. And I remember, I remember my past lifetimes. Go back to chapter 1 when my mother was doing life regression with me. And I learned to access those memories. And I shut those systems down for a long time, but they reactivated. And things, now that I'm 63, are big time reactivating in me, especially with all the alignments, the eclipses, 3-eye atlas, everything that's happening right now, loves. Getting, our own government genociding us with AIDS and HIV and COVID country. Coming to those realizations. Seeing that. Let alone my history with, the systems and, the homelessness that I've seen so much of. The suffering by the lowly. Especially the babies, the kiddies. It's really hard for me. And in a lot of ways it hasn't gotten any better, really. But, yeah. Yeah, I had so much experience to get to here. I've been blessed to be a witness, if that's a good thing. Sometimes I wish it wasn't the wit. I didn't live through this stuff to live to tell it. See, that's the thing. Nobody owns me. I'm not owned by anybody. I've seen the deterioration of my country and her children, especially. It's really sad, totally. Much of it government engineered. Sadly, we come to all find out. My whole life got destroyed. Number one, with AIDS and HIV, my whole career, everything. I'm not just blaming that, but that was the key point. Murdered my son Jacob. But that's in the next chapter. That's a big one. I haven't even got to when Jacob's born yet. I'm just talking about when I was with Luke, trying to find him doctors to fix him. The event. Yeah, the event. We're here. The event is here. The light's shining on all the fear. The light is shining on all the fear. No fear, loves. No fear. It's okay. The light of love is always here. Like a mother, you're forgiven. I love you from here. Totally. 54:30. And we're all in this together. Whether we're apart or we're in distance, we are in it together, darlings. Yes, we are. Check that. Isn't that pity? That's us. Totally. Yeah, we're all in it together universally. We're in it, but not of it. Absolutely. Yep, totally. And my little Jake got the golden ticket today, which is kind of weird for the chapter where he hasn't even been born yet. That's interesting. Feels like a time warp. Almost. The sun's going down. Breathe that in. Yeah, he got the golden ticket. And someday we all will. Don't worry about it. You're forgiven. All of us. Absolutely. That's how I feel. We all get the golden ticket. We just don't get to say who, what, when, where, why. That's kind of the cool thing. Surprise! At 5603. Yeah, we don't know, do we? I was so surprised to live and survive and have the privilege to have been given the gift of life through the Holy Spirit, that I might witness to this, as real as it gets, but just my own experience. I don't expect anybody to understand my perspective, because I could never truly understand theirs, because, I know we're in it together, but they have different eyes to see. Some are told what to see. Some are told what to believe. Some are told what to know and don't ask any questions. I'm an Aquarius. We're not like this. And in these times with alignments, new moon, solstice, and Yahshua said, you'll know from the sun, moon, stars, planets, seasons. And hey, I'm a ready Teddy. And I'm really holding everybody in my heart. Totally. Because, we don't know. This is where we trust. This is where the light of Christ comes in. We know where we go back again. Yep. We get to be in that golden river. Yeah. Forever. Not just that. It's so much bigger. Castles in the sky. Wow. Yeah, I know them. Interdimensional. No lie. I can't believe I still have 2 minutes left. I'm running out of things to say. You can believe that. But yes, interdimensionally, the stairway to heaven is in everybody. It's our DNA. It's our DNA. Yes, it comes right here to our pineal. And our whole physiology, our DNA. I fill mine up with light like this. I meditate with it. It's not witchcraft or nothing. It's I imagine the light in my mind. I can do it without light at all. I see it above my head and envision it, and it comes into me. It could be dark as night, and I still see the light. That's a cool thing. Oh yeah, alerts. Hey, I got 50 seconds left. Yeah, I send a mother's love to everybody that's walking this walk. Like Mary Magdalene and Yeshua. Sending out our love. Yeah, totally. Here's a hug. We can't do much, but we can love. Yeah, we can't do much, but we can love, and love is free. We can't do much, but we can love. We can't do much, but we can love. We can't do much, but we can love. And that is free. Hey, it's a great way to end it. Love you, lovelies.